Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of White Man Talks About Nintendo. Nope. Still no. The Nintendo Switch 2 is 9 months old at this point, and it just gave birth to a gooey, disgusting slime thing. But before this game, the launch lineup was under siege. Mario Kart is $80 but gives you $40 worth of content. I'd rather eat actual Zaw than play the Zaw itself. Kirby Air Riders makes my screen look like just a bunch of vomit. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. I refuse to speak about the tragic motorcycle event of 2026. And DK Bonanza is actually one of the best games for the Switch 2, and I think that this deserves to be a system seller, but people just can't, I guess, be convinced by a gorilla as much as just a weird purple squirt of goo. Pokopia has arrived, ladies and gentlemen, and it is just officially taking over, dude. I have seen more people jump into this newer generation because of this game than anything else before. On paper, this makes no sense. Pokemon, a franchise notorious for making games that look like this, is now the reason to buy a Switch 2. But after spending hours so far in this post-apocalyptic, non-human world where I'm like cleaning up trash and jotting down all of my first impressions with the game that I'm gonna yap about today, I get it. This game is just so addicting to the point where I have to like genuinely worry about sitting down for too long because I have hemorrhoids. What do you guys think about the setup? Check out the setup. Look at the hemorrhoid pillow. I just got this bad boy on Amazon. But real quick, before we dive into the game, check out this sick magic trick that you're gonna love so much. Thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring today's video. Guys, I'm on the internet a lot and I do some things on the internet and I don't want anybody spying on what I'm doing. Thankfully, Opera GX thought of that. Opera GX comes with a built-in VPN and ad blockers so you don't get any intrusive ads or weird people spying on you. I'm also guessing the browser you use right now is boring. Opera GX has a store that lets you customize almost everything about your browser. This is by far my favorite part, and you can throw up some nostalgia bait or some video game wallpapers, OST, soundtracks, designs, or even some monkeys.
What about my hyper-specific settings?
There's no need to sweat, my friend. You can literally just use the import tool and get the same browsing history, bookmarks, and cookies that you had on your previous browser and import them into Opera GX. So there's literally nothing stopping you. You can use my link in the description below and download Opera GX right now. Give it a try. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video, and we can get back to the video. Pokopia, to me, is a perfect example of a good idea pushed to its absolute limits. The good idea isn't the genre that they've chosen, but rather the story that they've built around this genre. It would have been so easy and expected of Pokemon to come out here and just be like, you're a little root trainer and you can catch Pokemon and also plant seeds and you're a farmer and that's the game. This is it. For the first time in years, Pokemon chose to go deeper here with the story. You play as Ditto, who transforms into their older trainer, and then you are tasked with literally bringing back to life all of the Pokemon in this crazy, dry, barren, destroyed land. It's such a strong concept and mission for a player that I find myself genuinely feeling connected to Daddy Tangrowth here because, I care about this world that's been abandoned. And not only do I feel connected to my professor here, but I also feel connected to all of the Pokemon in this game. All of them feel individually unique and like they have their own personality that fits and suits them. The way they've handled the integration of Pokemon is the core reason why I personally believe this game is getting so much hype and attention. They just feel so a part of things. In a cozy life sim game, the characters are all that you have, and you're not getting flooded every 5 minutes with dopamine. So if they don't feel a part of the world and satisfying and rewarding to talk to and interact with, then literally what is the point? Otherwise, you're just like getting a bunch of debt from Tom Nook and then doing chores. That's literally it. I'm literally just a cruel dictator in this game, making everybody work 24/7, and they cannot unionize, and I'm making sure that I am squeezing every ounce of hard work out of them for the shareholders. Spit that flame, boy. Give me it.
How many times I've explained to you guys, the hole on the hemorrhoid pillow is for the hemorrhoid. I definitely don't feel this way about my New Horizons villagers, dude. Like, I haven't been to my island in probably a year, and they've all starved to death at this point, and I just don't really care. Meanwhile, in Pokopia, if anybody touches my Slowpoke, I'll kill them. I thought this was just gonna be a sandbox game where it like kind of gives you a little tutorial and then you go off and explore the sandbox area and do what you want with it, and that's literally it. And while that is true and there is, you know, a sandboxy area for you to kind of do what you want with it, there's also other broken down towns and areas that have roots in like older Pokemon games. The only problem is that these towns are so destroyed. If you're a person who plays these games and you need everything to be clean and organized before you even think about building your own structures, it is such a mess, dude. You are going to be cleaning for so long. Check out the crib. Can I go inside of it? Oh my god. This is insane. Like, if they remove the hemorrhoids, you lose the ability slowly over time to clench. And therefore, when you get older, you start, like, pooping yourself more likely. So I'd rather keep the hemorrhoids than poop myself when I'm 70. This game has like 300 different Pokemon with different rarities, new items and blocks and furniture. You've got relics that you can find in the ground, different biomes, territories, towns to explore, buildings to reshape. It doesn't end. You do get a big sense that the dev team is respecting your time while also giving you content that is abundant. Like, dude, there's security cameras in this game, bro. I can have like ring cameras on my crib and make sure nobody is swatting me again. These games are also painful reminders at just how uncreative I am, because I check like Reddit and just see literal mansions, like the most insane designs, dude. It's just too much. Like, look at the detail that some of these people are able to create in this game. When I first saw the trailer or heard anything or saw anything about this game, I thought that maybe the creation and the building aspects of it would be a little bit more simplified just based off the aesthetic and the look of it. But no, there's the amount of like detail you can really get with this thing is mind-blowing. And then there's my building here. Yo, what's up, MTV? Welcome to the crib. Come on in. I've been working on this thing for a couple of hours. So right here, I got my crafting bench, and like, that's about it. Then over here, I got this nice little like chair thing and, you know, a bed that I stole from a different house. And you're gonna love this watching at home. Right here, we got this yellow Louis Vuitton Pikachu couch that I found in some like block of sand. And, you know, this really brings the whole home together here on the design aspect. The outside might be the best part too. I've been using two different blocks. I got this stone block, and then I use this wood thing to fill in the in-between, and it kind of looks like a turd. Just for my first week of playing, I don't really have much to complain about other than the fact that I'm always overwhelmed. This game makes me feel like a housekeeper in a massive hotel, and I'm the only one working. I'm stressed out about like the humidity and whether or not Onyx is like comfortable in this little corner that I shoved him in. Then Pidgey is like asking me for a little toy because he's bored. Bulbasaur's telling me to plant more flowers all over the place, and then Eevee just asked me if I could bring back to life his dead Pokemon friends. It's hard not to compare this game with Animal Crossing, but I find that the more that I play Pokopia, the more I realize that these two games live in their own like very distinct lanes. Pokopia is a much more like streamlined and instantly gratifying game. There are a couple of things that you will have to wait for, but for the most part, it's constantly rewarding you and giving you missions, side quests, things to do, and, you know, roads to fix up. You're constantly getting rewarded by the Pokemon that you're interacting with, and overall, it does feel more like you're on a mission to save humanity and you have a purpose. I have to discuss this to freaking aid in the fight of humanity against hemorrhoids. Animal Crossing to me is like kind of the opposite. It's much more atmospheric, and it's designed to be embraced because it's a slower paced game. The focus is much more on simply existing on your island and with your villagers. Meanwhile, in Pokopia, it's just like, no, dude, you've got a job to do. There is business to get done. I personally really like this change of pace for Pokopia, and, you know, I'm maybe not the best example to back Animal Crossing because I folded so fast when when it came to time skipping, dude. During COVID, I remember like I was not waiting 3 days for my museum to get built. I skipped through that immediately. I was zooming through it. I just don't have the patience that I think a lot of other people might have for these types of games, which is also why I think that Pokopia appeals to a little bit more of a wider range of people, because it does give you a much more rewarding gameplay loop. I don't think it's a matter of better or worse. It's really just dependent on like your style of coziness that you like.
Dude, they're hyping each other up. I think life's more fun when you've got friends who can do stuff you can't. I'm returning this game. Guys, I've walked past it like 4 times. What do you mean I've walked past it like 4 times? Where is this dude's freaking home? You guys don't understand. I'm so cautious with what I eat. I can't eat spicy food. The last time I went to Taco Bell, it inflamed my hemorrhoids. I avoid any food that, like spicy food. I gotta stop talking about this. I'm sorry, dude.
Zooming out here now, when we look at all of the launch titles that we got within the first year of the Switch 2, it's very understandable why Pokopia is getting mascotted as like the system seller. Now more than ever, because this generation is so much more expensive, people view these games as much more like investments in like stocks rather than just like a fun little weekend thing. If we're expected to spend more money on these individual titles, then we as consumers usually have higher expectations to get more out of the purchase. Pokopia feels like the first game to really like hone in on that concept for the Switch 2 and for this generation, because like we talked about, you're just going to be overwhelmed and cleaning 24/7, which then kind of makes me think of this whole conversation from a different perspective. Like, is Pokopia really a game that values your time and money, or is it just taking advantage of the fact that this whole genre is meant to be a black hole for your time and you're going to be forced to put in hundreds of hours? It comes down to like what you personally consider as perceived value with a video game. Like if I spend 2 hours picking up trash on the side of the road in this game, is that a sick amount of extra depth and content that I'm getting, or is that just the nature of the genre? But it's still hard to feel like you're not getting more value with this purchase in comparison to a lot of the other launch titles that we got this year. This thing is also up against it with launch titles because it's going to get compared to like the greatest system seller in my eyes of all time, and you already know what I'm talking about, Breath of the Wild. This game turns so many heads, dude. I remember watching gameplay and other people play Breath of the Wild, and I was like, dude, I can't wait any longer. This is irritating me. My wife and I even bonded over Breath of the Wild. We both loved that game, and it was the first video game we played together, and she's not even a Nintendo fan. That's how good of a game it was. She sees me playing the Switch 2 launch titles and thinks that they're all like for baby goo goo gaga gamers, and like wants me to go play a real man's game like Silent Hill. But with Pokopia, even though it looks a bit innocent, I can tell she's kind of eyeing my Switch 2 a bit. I just find it so ironic that we're 9 months into this high fidelity, high graphical Switch 2 era where the marketing was all, look at the frame rate and look at the graphics and it's all upgraded. But then the game that is convincing more people now than ever to jump into this ship of the next generation is this. To me, I do get like a whiff in the air that smells like this is going to be the year that the Switch 2 kind of stabilizes and a lot of the launch titles and games truly, you know, show up for the system. I mean, we've got things like Dustblood's coming, the 3D Mario Winds and Waves is hitting in 2027. So I can feel my chill tendencies starting to come back for Nintendo. But for now, you're gonna have to excuse me because my Ring camera just caught Squirtle trying to unionize here. So I'm gonna go put an end to that real quick.
I'm specifically talking about hemorrhoids because I don't want any of you to get hemorrhoids. Nobody talks about them. They're just like this joke, but they're serious, dude.
Violent, that's what we show, not private. Better keep to yourself, stay silent. If it come to the wealth, get violent. Start riots, violent. This why my money, my out.